The text message glowed in the darkness of my car like an accusation I hadn't earned yet. St. Mary's Church, 2 p.m. You need to see this. No name, no explanation. Just 12 words that had been burning a hole through my phone and my peace of mind for the past 3 hours. I should have deleted it. Should have laughed it off as some wrong number prank and gone back to reviewing the quarterly reports waiting on my desk. That's what the old Alina would have done. The Alina who trusted her husband. The Alina who believed that 7 years of marriage meant something solid, something built to last. But that Alina was already fading, I realize now. Had been fading for months, maybe years. Dying by inches in the space between Ryan's late nights and his distracted smiles. Between the way his eyes would slide past mine during dinner conversations and the way his phone always faced down on the table, a tiny fortress of secrets I'd been too afraid to storm. So here I am, sitting in my car like some cut-rate private investigator in a made-for-TV movie, watching guests filter into the old stone building through my rain-streaked windshield. St. Mary's. The same church where I'd walked down the aisle 7 years ago, clutching white roses and believing forever was a place you could actually arrive at. The rain drums against the roof, a steady, indifferent rhythm. My hands won't stop trembling on the steering wheel. You need to see this. Who sends a message like that? Who watches from the shadows, pulling strings, and what do they get out of it? I've turned the question over so many times it's gone smooth as river stone in my mind. A wronged ex-lover of Ryan's? A disgruntled client? Some random cruelty enthusiast who gets off on chaos? Or maybe, and this is the thought that's kept me here, foot hovering over the gas pedal for 45 minutes, maybe it's someone who actually gives a damn. Someone who saw what I've been refusing to see. The church bells begin to toll. 2 o'clock. I'm out of the car before I can talk myself out of it, my heels clicking against the wet pavement like a countdown. The rain has softened to mist, clinging to my skin and hair, but I barely notice. My entire focus has narrowed to that arched wooden door, standing open like a mouth waiting to swallow me whole. The smell hits me first as I slip inside through the side entrance. Incense and old wood and something floral from the arrangements banked near the altar. Familiar smells. Safe smells. The kind of smells that used to make me feel like I belonged to something larger than myself. I find a spot behind a marble pillar near the back. Hidden, but with a clear view of the altar. My heart is pounding so hard I'm certain someone must hear it, must turn and find me here, trespassing on my own history. The organ starts playing, and my heart stops, because there he is, Ryan, my Ryan, standing at the altar in a tuxedo I've never seen before, charcoal gray with a silver vest cut perfectly to his frame. His hands are clasped in front of him, and I can see that familiar tick in his jaw from here, the one that appears when he's trying to hold himself together. Nervous, excited, waiting for something, waiting for someone. The world tilts beneath me. I grip the pillar, knuckles white, because if I let go I might actually fall. This isn't happening. This can't be happening. Ryan is in Chicago. That's what the calendar said. That's what his secretary confirmed. That's what the hotel reservation showed when I called to surprise him with a weekend visit, only to be told by the front desk that no, Mr. Patterson had never checked in. I told myself there was an explanation, a mix-up, a last-minute change of plans. I told myself a lot of things. The music swells, the congregation rises, and she walks in. Long dark hair cascading over bare shoulders, olive skin glowing against white silk. That graceful walk, hips swaying just enough to draw every eye in the room. The dress is simple, elegant, devastating, a fitted bodice and a skirt that flows like water behind her. Megan, my best friend since 3rd grade. The woman who held my hair back when I had the flu in 10th grade. The woman who helped me pick out my own wedding dress, dabbing tears from her eyes as I stepped out of the fitting room. The woman who swore, hand on heart, that she would always have my back. She's walking toward my husband. No, not my husband. Her husband now, I realize with a clarity that feels like ice water in my veins. That's what this is. That's what the tuxedo and the flowers and the priest mean. The priest. I recognize him too. Father Michael, who married us 7 years ago. He's standing there with the same gentle smile, the same open book, performing the same ceremony for 2 people who helped me plan my own wedding reception. The words drift toward me in fragments, too surreal to fully process. ... Dearly beloved, joined in holy matrimony, love, honor, and cherish. I watch Megan reach the altar. Watch Ryan take her hand. Watch them smile at each other with the kind of intimacy that takes years to build, or the kind that comes from stealing it. They exchange vows. His voice is steady, sure. Her voice trembles with what looks like genuine emotion. Rings are produced, blessed, slipped onto fingers. I now pronounce you husband and wife. The congregation applauds. Someone cheers. Ryan dips Megan backward and kisses her, and the image burns itself into my retinas, a scar I'll carry forever. I don't remember leaving the church. I don't remember the drive home. The next thing I know, I'm sitting in our kitchen, my kitchen, the one Ryan insisted on remodeling last year with the marble counters I'd always wanted, watching the sun set through windows that suddenly feel like prison bars. My phone buzzes. Ryan, conference running late, don't wait up. I stare at the message for a long moment, then I laugh. The sound is foreign to my ears, sharp, dangerous, like breaking glass. He's texting me from his honeymoon. From whatever hotel room he's sharing with my best friend, playing the devoted husband while living an entire second life. How long has this been going on? Months? Years? Did Megan come to our house for dinner and then go home with him? Did she help me plan anniversary parties, knowing she was the one he'd actually be celebrating with? I pour myself a glass of his favorite scotch, the one he saves for special occasions, the one I'm not supposed to touch. The liquid burns going down. It feels real, unlike everything else in my life. Another text, same unknown number. Now you know, what will you do about it? I read it 5 times. Each time the question lands differently. What will I do? Confront him? Divorce him? Burn his clothes on the front lawn like some cliche of a wronged woman? No, that's not enough. That's never enough. Because here's the thing about betrayal that no one tells you. It's not just about the act itself. It's about the elaborate architecture of lies that made it possible. The careful choreography of deception. The way they must have planned this, plotted this, laughed about this behind my back for God knows how long. Ryan is a good liar. I'll give him that. 7 years of marriage, and I never suspected a thing. But I've been a good liar too, in my own way. I've been lying to myself about the distance between us, about the way his eyes would linger on Megan just a moment too long, about the texts he'd angle away from me at dinner. I open my laptop and start typing. Dear Laura, Laura is Ryan's mother. She's never liked me, always made it clear I wasn't quite good enough for her golden boy. But she loves Megan, has always loved Megan. Called her the daughter I never had at every family gathering. I hope this email finds you well. I've been thinking about hosting that family reunion you've always wanted. The one where we could all finally be together. Ryan, me, you, and Megan, of course. She's practically family, isn't she? I pause, reading the words back. They're innocent enough. Warm, even, but Laura will read between the lines. She'll hear the question I'm really asking, did you know? Were you in on it too? I take another sip of scotch and smile. Let them have their honeymoon. Let them think they've won. I've got time, and I've got something better than their love. I've got their trust. Have you ever received a message that changed everything? Not because of what it said, but because of what it forced you to see about someone you thought you knew? That's the thing about truth. It doesn't always arrive like lightning. Sometimes it creeps in like morning light, revealing what was always there, hiding in plain sight. Keep reading. Aliner's journey is just beginning. The sun sets completely, leaving me in darkness. But for the first time today, I can see everything clearly. I've moved to the living room, an old photo album heavy in my lap. Each page weighted with memories I can't trust anymore. There we are, Ryan, Megan, and me at 16, sprawled on my parents' lawn after a summer barbecue. Ryan's arm is around both of us, and we're laughing at some forgotten joke. The three musketeers we called ourselves. Inseparable. The edges of the photograph are worn from years of being pulled out and looked at. I used to smile at this picture. Used to feel lucky, blessed even, to have found my person so early and kept her close all these years. Now I see something else. The way Megan's hand rests on Ryan's knee. The way he's angled toward her, even in a group shot. The way they're both looking at each other instead of the camera. Was it always there? Was I just too blind to see? Footsteps on the stairs. Ryan's familiar tread, heavier on the third step where the wood is loose. He's home 3 days after the wedding, his second wedding, acting like nothing's changed. Like he didn't just shatter everything we built. Aliner, his voice floats up the stairs, casual, unconcerned. I ordered Chinese, come eat. I close the album as he enters the living room, carrying 2 plates of food I won't touch. He's changed out of his business clothes into sweatpants and an old college t-shirt. Comfortable. At home, completely unaware that the ground beneath him has shifted. Remember when we used to get takeout with Megan every Friday? The words leave my mouth before I can stop them. Sharp as broken glass, Ryan's smile doesn't quite reach his eyes. That was a lifetime ago. Was it? I stand up, letting the album fall to the floor. The thud is satisfying, because I saw her 3 days ago. She looked exactly the same. Ryan freezes, just for a second. His chopsticks pause halfway to his mouth, and something flickers across his face. Panic, calculation, I'm not sure which. Then it's gone, smoothed over by years of practiced deception. Eliner, he sets his plate down, walking toward me with that concerned expression he uses on difficult clients. The one that says I'm here for you, tell me what's wrong while his mind is already 3 steps ahead, figuring out how to fix it. Have you been drinking? He asks. I laugh, and it sounds like my mother's laugh after my father left, hollow, unhinged, a little bit dangerous. That's your move, gaslight the wife into thinking she's crazy? I'm worried about you. His hand reaches for mine, but I step back. I don't want him touching me. Don't want his lies contaminating my skin. When did it start? The question burns my throat on the way out. Was it before our wedding? During? Tell me, Ryan, was I the backup plan or just the cover story? You're not making any sense. His left hand twitches at his side. His tell, the one thing he's never been able to control, no matter how skilled a liar he is. I've spent 7 years cataloging his habits, learning his rhythms, mapping his microexpressions. Funny how clearly you see things when you're finally looking for the cracks. I was at St. Mary's on Tuesday. The words hang between us like smoke from a fire that's still burning. Nice tux, by the way. Better than the one you wore at our wedding. The mask slips just for a moment, but it's enough. His eyes go cold, calculating, assessing, weighing options. This is the real Ryan, I realize. The one I never let myself see because I was too busy believing in the performance. It's not what you think. Don't. My voice doesn't shake, I'm proud of that. Don't insult me with excuses. I watched you marry my best friend while I was supposedly your loving wife at home. What exactly should I think? He runs his hands through his hair. Another tell. It's complicated. There are things you don't understand. Like what? I moved to the bookshelf, pulling out the stack of documents I've collected over the past 3 days. I'm not sure when I became someone who could investigate her own husband, who could dig through financial records and property deeds with cold efficiency. Maybe I've always been this person. Maybe betrayal just woke her up. The joint bank accounts you opened, the property you bought together in Vermont, or maybe the fact that your mother knew the whole time? That stops him. How did you? You should really use better passwords than our anniversary date. I spread the documents on the coffee table. Bank statements, property deeds, emails printed from his laptop while he was in the shower this morning. Or should we discuss the trust fund Laura set up for your children with Megan? His face goes white. For a moment, he looks almost human, vulnerable, scared, caught. Then the mask slides back into place, but it's different now. Colder, more desperate. Eliner, please. He reaches for the papers. We can work this out. I'll explain everything. Like you explained your business trip to Chicago? I never meant to hurt you. But you did it anyway. The words land like stones, heavy, final. You did it anyway, Ryan, for months, years. You built an entire second life, and you never once thought about what it would do to me. He's quiet for a long moment. When he speaks, his voice is different, harder, more honest. The performance is over. What do you want? The question catches me off guard. What do I want? Revenge? Justice? An apology so profound it rewrites history? I want you to leave. This is my house too. Not anymore. I hold up the final document, the power of attorney he signed last year when he was too busy with work to handle our estate planning. Too busy with Megan, I realize now. Too busy building his second life to pay attention to the fine print of the first one. You should really read what you sign, Ryan. Now get out before I call Michael and have him escort you. He stares at me for a long moment. Something shifts in his expression, respect, maybe, or the dawning realization that he's underestimated me for years. You've changed, he says quietly. No, I shake my head. I've finally stopped pretending. He leaves, not because he's afraid of Michael, our neighbor who's a retired cop, not because he's afraid of me. He leaves because he knows this is just the beginning. He knows me well enough for that. The door closes behind him. The house settles into silence. I sink onto the couch, suddenly exhausted. The adrenaline that's been carrying me for 3 days drains away, leaving behind something hollow and raw. I did it. I confronted him. I held my ground. So why do I feel like I've just lost something I can never get back? My phone buzzes, the unknown number again. He's gone to Megan's. What's your next move? I stare at the screen for a long moment, then I type back, who are you? The response comes almost instantly. Someone who's been where you are, keep going. You're not done yet. Have you ever confronted someone, only to realize the hardest part isn't the confrontation? It's what comes after. When the door closes and the silence settles, and you're left alone with everything you've learned and nothing you can unlearn. Eliner's about to discover that the truth she's uncovered is just the first layer. The deeper questions are still waiting. The house has never felt so large. 3 days since Ryan left. 3 days of wandering through rooms that don't feel like mine anymore, touching furniture that suddenly seems like props in a play I didn't audition for. The kitchen where I made him breakfast every Sunday. The bedroom where we used to talk until midnight, planning futures that will never happen. The guest room where Megan slept after too much wine at dinner parties. I should be angry. I am angry, a low, constant hum beneath everything. But underneath that, there's something worse. Silence, not the peaceful kind, the kind that asks questions you don't have answers for, the kind that whispers, "What now?" in a voice that sounds suspiciously like your own. I've spent the last 72 hours doing everything I can to avoid that silence. Calling lawyers, meeting with a forensic accountant, building a case brick by brick until the stack of evidence on my dining room table stands 6 inches high. Ryan's financial records, Megan's email drafts recovered from a shared cloud account she forgot I had access to, property deeds, text message transcripts, photographs I found on an old phone Ryan left in the garage, images that made me throw up in the sink before I could force myself to look at them again. Evidence, leverage, power. But power for what? That's the question I can't answer. The question that keeps me awake at 3 a.m., staring at the ceiling, tracing the same cracks over and over until dawn finally breaks. My phone rings. "Grace, we need to meet." Her voice is clipped professional, the voice she uses when something's gone wrong at the office. "My place, 1 hour." "Grace, what's 1 hour, Alina?" She hangs up before I can ask anything else. Grace has been my lawyer since before I married Ryan. She handled the prenup I didn't want but signed anyway. She handled the trust fund my grandmother left me, the one Ryan doesn't know about because Grace advised me to keep it separate. "Just in case," she'd said. I laughed at the time. Thought she was being paranoid. I'm not laughing now. Her apartment is sleek and cold, all glass and steel and carefully curated art. The kind of space that says I've made it without saying anything warmer. Grace is already at the kitchen island when I arrive, a folder spread in front of her, a cup of coffee growing cold at her elbow. "Sit down." She doesn't look up. "We have a problem." "I have a lot of problems, Grace. You're going to have to be more specific." She looks at me then, and something in her expression makes my stomach drop. I've known Grace for 15 years. I've seen her handle hostile witnesses, opposing counsel, judges who clearly didn't respect her. I've never seen her look like this. "Ryan's not just cheating on you, Alina. He's been systematically draining your joint accounts for the past 18 months, moving money into offshore accounts, liquidating investments without your signature." "I know, I found the records." "No," she shakes her head slowly. "You found some records, these go deeper." She slides a document across the island. There's a company, a shell corporation registered in the Cayman Islands. Ryan's the sole signatory. And the company's assets? I pick up the document. Read the numbers, read them again. This can't be right. It's right. I had a forensic accountant verify it. Ryan's been planning this for years, Alina. The affair wasn't a mistake. It wasn't even the main event. It was cover, distraction. While you were focused on Megan, he was emptying your future. The numbers blur in front of me. Nearly $2 million, gone. That's my grandmother's money, the trust. How did he even? Power of attorney. Grace's voice is grim. "The one you signed last year. Remember when he said it was just for convenience? For the estate planning? He used it to transfer the trust assets into joint accounts, then moved them from there. Technically legal. Morally, she doesn't finish the sentence. She doesn't have to." I set the document down carefully as if it might explode. Maybe it will. Maybe everything in my life is about to explode. What do I do? "First, you let me handle this. I've already filed an emergency motion to freeze the remaining assets. It won't get the money back, but it'll stop him from taking more." She pauses. "Second, Alina, I need to ask you something, and I need you to answer honestly." "Okay. Did you know about this? Any of it? Because if you had even an inkling." "No." The word comes out stronger than I feel. "I didn't know, I swear, Grace." "I trusted him." She studies me for a long moment. Then she nods. "Good, that's good, because if you'd known and stayed silent, it would complicate things. But if you're telling the truth, and I believe you are, then you're a victim here, not an accomplice." Victim. The word lands wrong. I don't feel like a victim. I feel like someone who's been sleepwalking for 7 years and just woke up in the middle of a nightmare. "There's something else," Grace says. "Something I found in the documents." She pulls out another sheet. A photograph printed on plain paper. A woman I've never seen before, mid-40s, dark hair, sharp cheekbones, standing in front of a building I don't recognize. Who is that? Her name is Diana Reeves. She's a private investigator, hired by someone to look into your husband about 6 months ago. My mind races. 6 months ago. That's before I knew anything, before the text messages. Before the church. Hired by who? Grace's expression shifts. Something almost like admiration crosses her face. Your mother. The words don't make sense at first. My mother died when I was 22, breast cancer. She never met Ryan. He came into my life after she was gone. My mother is dead. I know. Grace slides another document toward me, a letter handwritten on stationery I recognize, my mother's stationery. The set my father gave her for their 20th anniversary. She hired Diana 6 weeks before she died, paid for 5 years of investigation services up front. Diana's been working the case ever since, reporting to. Well, that's the interesting part. Reporting to who? Your grandmother. The room spins, my grandmother. The woman who raised me after my mother died. The woman who always seemed a little cool toward Ryan, a little reserved but never said anything specific. She knew, she suspected. Apparently your mother had concerns about Ryan from the beginning, things she noticed when you first started dating, before the wedding. She couldn't prove anything, but she didn't trust him. So she set up a failsafe. I think about my grandmother, the way she'd watch Ryan at family dinners, the pointed questions about his work, his travel, his plans, the way she'd always ask, "Are you happy, Alina?" Truly happy? I thought she was just being grandmotherly. She was investigating my husband. She's been getting reports for 5 years, Grace continues. Diana's been documenting everything, the affairs, the financial irregularities, the offshore accounts. She has enough evidence to put Ryan away for a decade. Then why didn't anyone tell me? Grace's eyes soften. Would you have believed them 5 years ago when you were still in love? 3 years ago when you were planning that big anniversary trip? Even 6 months ago, would you have believed your grandmother over Ryan? I want to say yes. Want to believe I would have listened, would have seen the truth if someone had just shown me. But I know myself. I know how hard I worked to build this marriage, this life, this illusion. I would have defended him, would have accused them of jealousy, of meddling, of not understanding. They were waiting, I say slowly. Waiting for me to see it myself, Grace nods. Diana's instructions were clear. Document everything, but only intervene if Alina's safety was at risk. Otherwise, wait. Wait until she's ready to see. The burner phone buzzes in my pocket. I pull it out, read the message. Your grandmother wants to meet, tomorrow, 10 a.m. the old house. I show Grace the screen. She reads it, then looks up at me. She's been watching over you all along, Alina. They both have. I think about my mother, dying of cancer, spending her last weeks not on herself, but on protecting me from a man she'd never even met. I think about my grandmother, sitting on this knowledge for 5 years, watching me make mistakes she couldn't stop me from making. And I think about Ryan, about Megan, about everything they've taken from me, everything they thought they'd get away with. No, I stand up, slipping the phone back into my pocket, not watching over me, preparing me, giving me the tools to fight back when I was finally ready. Grace raises an eyebrow. And are you ready? I think about the church, the wedding, the moment I realized my entire life was built on someone else's lie. Yeah, I say. I think I finally am. What does it mean to be ready, truly ready to face the truth? Alina's about to find out. And the woman who's been waiting in the wings, holding evidence for 5 years, is finally going to step into the light. The question is, what will Alina do with everything she's about to learn? The old house sits at the end of a tree-lined street in Brookline, exactly as I remember it. White colonial with black shutters, a wraparound porch, a swing that creaks in the wind. My mother grew up here. I spent every summer of my childhood here, chasing fireflies across the lawn, listening to my grandmother tell stories on that porch. Today, the porch is empty. The swing is still. I park at the curb and sit for a moment, gathering myself. The burner phone is in my pocket, silent for once. The evidence folder is on the passenger seat, thick with documents I still can't quite believe are real. And somewhere inside that house is my grandmother, who's known the truth for 5 years and never said a word. I should be angry. Part of me is angry, a hot, sharp anger that wants to ask, why didn't you tell me? But underneath that, there's something else. Gratitude, maybe, or the beginning of understanding. She opens the door before I knock. 78 years old, still sharp as a blade, still beautiful in that timeless way some women carry. Her hair is silver now, pulled back in a simple knot, and her eyes, my mother's eyes, my eyes, are wet. Eliner, Grandma. We stand there for a moment, separated by a lifetime of secrets and the screen door between us. Then she pushes it open and pulls me into an embrace that smells like lavender and home. I'm sorry, she whispers. I'm so sorry I couldn't tell you. I know. And somehow, standing here, I do know. I understand in a way I couldn't have 6 months ago. I wasn't ready. She pulls back, cups my face in her hands, studies me the way she used to when I was small and scraped my knee and needed someone to tell me it would be okay. You're ready now? It's not a question. We sit on the porch swing, the way we used to when I was a child. The folder rests between us, unopened. My grandmother doesn't look at it, she looks at me. Your mother loved you more than anything in this world. Her voice is steady, but I can hear the grief underneath, still present after all these years. When she got sick, her biggest fear wasn't the cancer. It was leaving you alone. She didn't leave me alone, she left me with you. A sad smile. I know, and I tried, Alina. God knows I tried, but your mother saw something I didn't. She met Ryan once, you know. Before the wedding, the words hit me like a physical blow. What? When? It was an accident. She was at a coffee shop near your apartment, waiting to surprise you for your birthday. Ryan came in with another woman. They sat together for an hour. Held hands, kissed goodbye. I feel sick. Why didn't she tell me? She almost did a dozen times, but you were so happy, Alina, so sure, and she had no proof, just a coffee shop sighting and a bad feeling. She thought maybe it was innocent. Maybe the woman was a cousin, a friend, someone else entirely. But it wasn't. No, my grandmother's voice hardens. It wasn't. After she died, I hired Diana to find out who that woman was. It took 6 months, turned out to be someone Ryan worked with, someone he'd been seeing for years, even before he met you. I think about all the years I spent with Ryan, all the moments I thought were real, all the times I defended him to friends who had concerns, to family who had questions. He's been cheating on me our entire marriage. Yes, with multiple women. Yes, and Megan? My grandmother's eyes flash with something cold. Megan's been with him for 4 years. She knew about you from the beginning. She helped him plan the financial transfers. She's been emptying your joint accounts right alongside him. The betrayal runs so deep I can't find the bottom of it. My best friend, my husband. 4 years of lies while I sat at dinner parties with them, while I confided in Megan about my marriage problems, while I cried on her shoulder about Ryan's distance, and she held me and lied. Why? The word comes out broken. Why would she do that? Because she's been in love with him since high school, because he promised her a life with you as the stepping stone, not the destination. Because some people, Alina, are just built wrong. They see love as a competition, not a connection. I wipe my eyes with the back of my hand. I won't cry. Not here, not now. What do? My grandmother reaches into her pocket and pulls out a flash drive. Diana's complete file, 5 years of evidence, bank records, photographs, emails, text messages. Enough to put Ryan in prison for fraud alone, never mind what else he's done. I take the drive. It's warm from her hand, small enough to fit in my pocket, heavy enough to change everything. There's more, she says quietly. Diana found something else, something I didn't want to believe until I saw the proof myself. What? Ryan's not just a cheater and a thief, Alina. He's been running a scheme. Recruiting investors for projects that don't exist, funneling money through shell companies, leaving a trail of ruined lives behind him. There are at least 12 victims we know of. People who trusted him, invested their savings, lost everything. I think about Ryan's charm, his confidence, the way he could sell anything to anyone. I thought it was talent, it was predation. The FBI has been watching him for 6 months. Diana's been feeding them information. They're ready to move, but they need one more thing. What? A victim willing to testify. Someone close to him who can speak to his methods, his patterns, his lies, someone with firsthand knowledge. She looks at me, just looks at me, and I understand. You want me to testify. I want you to have a choice. For the first time in 7 years, Alina, you get to decide. Not Ryan, not Megan, not even me. You. The porch swing creaks gently. A bird sings somewhere in the garden. Life going on, indifferent to the war being waged inside me. What if I'm not strong enough? My grandmother takes my hand. Her grip is surprisingly firm. You're your mother's daughter. You're my granddaughter. You've been strong enough your whole life. You just didn't know it because you never had to be. But you're about to find out, Alina, and I'll be right here the whole time. I look at the flash drive in my palm. 5 years of evidence. 12 victims, a lifetime of lies. And for the first time since I watched Ryan marry Megan in that church, I feel something other than pain. I feel purpose. Have you ever discovered that the person who hurt you most also hurt others, and realized your pain was part of a pattern, not an isolated wound? Alina's about to learn that her story isn't just about betrayal. It's about justice. And the people who have been waiting in the shadows, gathering evidence, are finally ready to step into the light. The next 2 weeks pass in a blur of meetings and documents and decisions I never imagined having to make. The FBI agent's name is Marcus Chen. He's young for someone with his level of clearance. maybe 35, with careful eyes and a voice that never rises above conversational. The first time we meet, in a sterile conference room in the federal building, he spends an hour walking me through the case against Ryan. It's bigger than I imagined, bigger than my grandmother knew. Ryan hasn't just been cheating on me and stealing from me. He's been running a Ponzi scheme for 5 years, taking millions from investors who trusted him with their retirement funds, their children's education money, their dreams. There are 18 victims we've identified so far, Chen says, sliding a stack of photographs across the table. This couple invested their life savings, lost everything. The husband had a heart attack 6 months later. He survived, but they lost their house, their car, their health insurance. I look at the photographs, ordinary people, retirees, a young couple with a baby, a single mother who just started her own business. People who trusted Ryan the way I did, because he was charming, because he seemed successful, because he knew exactly what to say. He targeted vulnerable people, Chen continues. People who didn't have financial expertise. People who were desperate. People who just inherited money and didn't know how to manage it. He'd befriend them, earn their trust, then drain them dry. How did no one catch him? He was careful, moved money through multiple accounts, used shell companies, had a whole network of people helping him, including your friend Megan. My friend, the word tastes wrong now. She knew and participated. She handled communications with investors, forged signatures, helped create fake statements. She's been his partner in every sense of the word. I think about Megan, about all those years of friendship, about the way she'd hold my hand at my mother's funeral, the way she'd show up with soup when I was sick, the way she'd listen for hours when I talked about my fears and dreams. All of it was strategy. All of it was cover. We need you to testify, Aliner. Chen's voice is gentle but firm. You're our best witness. You lived with him. You saw his patterns, his habits, his tells, and you have documentation, bank statements, emails, photographs that corroborates everything we've gathered. What about the power of attorney? The money he took from me? Recoverable if you help us. Restitution will be part of the sentencing, and there's a victims fund you'd be eligible. I shake my head. I don't care about the money. Chen raises an eyebrow. What do you care about? I think about the photographs on the table, the retired couple who lost everything, the single mother who trusted the wrong man, the 18 people whose lives Ryan destroyed while I was making him breakfast and planning our future. I care about them, I say. I care about making sure he can't do this to anyone else. Chen nods slowly. Then you'll testify? I look at the photographs one more time. Then I look at my own reflection in the window. A woman I barely recognize, transformed by grief and anger, and something that might be strength. Yes, the night before the grand jury, I dream about my mother. She's young in the dream, the age she was when I was a child, before the cancer, before everything changed. We're sitting on the porch swing at my grandmother's house, the same swing where I sat 2 weeks ago, and she's holding my hand. You're braver than you know, she says. Braver than you think. I'm scared. Of course you are. Courage isn't not being scared, it's being scared and doing it anyway. I don't know if I can do this. She smiles, and it's her real smile, the one that always made me feel safe. You can, you will, and I'll be watching, Aliner. I've always been watching. I wake up with tears on my face and the sun just beginning to lighten the sky outside my window. For a long moment, I just lie there, letting the dream settle into memory. Then I get up, shower, dress, walk out the door toward the car that's waiting to take me to the federal building. The testimony takes 6 hours. Chen walks me through everything, the discovery, the evidence, the years of lies. I answer every question, hold up every document, tell every truth I've been hiding. When it's over, I walk out of the building into late afternoon sunlight. My grandmother is waiting on a bench near the entrance, knitting something formless and blue. How do you feel? She asks. I think about it, really think about it. Empty, I say finally, but in a good way, like something I've been carrying finally got put down. She nods as if she expected this answer. That's how it feels. The truth does that, it's heavy going in but light coming out. I sit beside her on the bench. For a while, we just watch people pass, couples holding hands, parents with children, people living ordinary lives that probably feel extraordinary to them. What happens now? I ask. Now we wait. The grand jury will decide whether to indict. If they do, and Chen seems confident they will, there'll be a trial, more testimony, more waiting. And then Ryan goes to prison. Megan goes to prison. The money gets recovered piece by piece. The victims get some measure of justice. Some measure. She looks at me and her eyes are soft. Justice is never complete, Aliner. That's the hardest lesson. You can put someone in prison, but you can't undo what they did. You can recover money, but you can't recover the years they stole. The trick is learning to live with that, to build something new on ground that's been burned. I think about my mother, about the years she didn't get to have, about the grandmother she left behind, still fighting for her daughter's child. I don't know how to build something new. Yes, you do. My grandmother pats my hand. You've been doing it your whole life. Every time something broke, you fixed it. Every time someone let you down, you kept going. Every time you had a reason to give up, you didn't. That's building, Alina. That's what it looks like. I lean my head on her shoulder the way I did when I was small. What would I do without you? You'll never have to find out. Have you ever had to testify, to speak truth in a room full of people who didn't want to hear it? Alina just did, and now she waits. But waiting isn't the same as doing nothing. Sometimes waiting is its own kind of action, its own kind of strength. The question is, what will she do with whatever comes next? The indictment comes down 3 weeks later. 37 counts. Fraud, embezzlement, money laundering, conspiracy. Ryan's arrested at Megan's apartment at 6 a.m., still in his pajamas, still believing he was untouchable. Megan's arrested an hour later at the coffee shop where they used to meet, the one she probably thought was safe. The news spreads fast, faster than I expected. By noon, it's on every local station. By evening, it's national. The charming financier who bilked millions from innocent victims, his girlfriend accomplice, the wife who helped bring him down. That last part catches me off guard. I didn't expect to be part of the story. Didn't want to be. But Chen's office puts out a carefully worded statement about the courageous cooperation of a key witness, and suddenly my phone is ringing off the hook. I don't answer. I let it go to voicemail, let the messages pile up unlistened to. There's only one call I'm waiting for, and it hasn't come yet. It comes at midnight. Elena, Ryan's voice. I'd know it anywhere, even through the static of a prison phone line. Ryan, a long pause. I can hear him breathing, can almost see him sitting there in his orange jumpsuit, running his hand through his hair the way he always did when he was trying to figure out how to fix something. You ruined me. I didn't ruin you, Ryan. You did that yourself. Another pause. When he speaks again, his voice is different, harder, more honest. I underestimated you, I'll give you that. I never thought you had it in you. 7 years, Ryan. You had 7 years to figure out who I really am, but you were too busy lying to pay attention. I loved you. The words come out wrong, too fast, too desperate. In my own way, I really did. No, my voice is steady, calm. You loved what I gave you. You loved the stability, the respectability, the cover. You never loved me. You don't even know how. Silence stretches between us. Somewhere in the background, I can hear the sounds of the prison, doors clanging, voices echoing, the machinery of punishment grinding on. What do you want me to say? He asks finally. That I'm sorry, I am sorry. Sorry it ended this way. Sorry I got caught. That's not sorry, Ryan. That's regret. They're different things. What's the difference? Sorry is about what you did to me. Regret is about what happened to you. And I don't care about what happened to you anymore. I hang up before he can respond. My hand is shaking, but my heart is steady. For the first time since that text message appeared on my phone, I feel something like peace. The trial lasts 6 weeks. I testify for 3 days. Chen prepares me thoroughly, walks me through every question, every possible cross-examination. But when I actually take the stand, when I actually face Ryan across the courtroom, something unexpected happens. I'm not afraid. I thought I would be. Thought my voice would shake, my hands would tremble, my composure would crack under the weight of his gaze. But instead, I feel calm. Certain, like I'm finally doing what I was always meant to do. The prosecutor asks about the day I discovered the truth. I tell them about the text message, the church, the wedding. My voice doesn't waver. The defense attorney tries to paint me as a scorned woman, bitter and vengeful. I answer each question honestly, without defensiveness. Yes, I was hurt. Yes, I was angry. But that doesn't change the facts of what Ryan did. Megan testifies too. Not willingly. She's been offered a deal in exchange for cooperation. Reduced sentence in return for full disclosure. She takes the stand looking smaller than I've ever seen her, diminished by orange polyester and the weight of her own choices. She won't look at me. Can't, apparently. Keeps her eyes fixed on the prosecutor or her hands or anywhere else. When she describes helping Ryan drain our joint accounts, I feel something shift inside me. Not anger, I've exhausted my anger. Something colder. Final, the last thread of connection between us snapping. The jury deliberates for 2 days. When they come back, the courtroom is full. Reporters, victims, curious onlookers who have been following the case on TV. My grandmother is beside me, holding my hand. Grace is on my other side, expressionless but present. On the count of fraud in the first degree, we find the defendant guilty. 37 times. Guilty, guilty, guilty. Ryan's face doesn't change. He's been preparing for this moment, I realize, building walls against it. But Megan crumbles, sobs into her hands while the bailiff steadies her, begs for mercy that isn't coming. The sentencing happens a month later. Ryan gets 20 years, Megan gets 12. The judge calls their crimes a betrayal not just of individuals, but of trust itself, the trust that holds society together. I'm in the courtroom when the sentences are read. I watch them be led away in handcuffs. I watch their families weep in the gallery. And I feel nothing, not nothing in a bad way. Nothing in the way you feel after a storm finally passes, emptied out, wrung dry, ready for whatever comes next. Afterward, I walk out of the courthouse into sunlight. Real sunlight, warm on my face. My grandmother is beside me, quiet and steady. Grace is on my other side, already on her phone, already handling the next thing. What now? I ask. It's the same question I've been asking for months, but this time it feels different. This time it's not despair, it's possibility. Now you live, my grandmother says simply. That's what comes after, you just. Live, I think about my mother, about the years she didn't get, about the woman who spent her last weeks setting up a system to protect me from a man she'd never even met. I think I'd like to visit Mom's grave, I say. Tell her what happened, thank her. My grandmother's eyes glisten. She'd like that, she'd be so proud of you, Alina. I know, and I do know, somehow impossibly I know, what comes after justice. After the trials and the testimony and the verdicts, Alina's about to find out, because surviving isn't the same as living, and healing isn't the same as being whole. The question isn't whether she'll recover, it's what she'll become. 1 year later, I'm sitting on the porch swing at my grandmother's house, watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of orange and pink. A lot has changed. The money Ryan stole, most of it anyway, has been recovered. The victims' fund distributed what it could. Some people got their retirement back. Some got enough to start over. Some got nothing but the satisfaction of seeing Ryan in prison, which isn't nothing, but isn't enough either. I've started a foundation. Using some of my recovered money, plus donations from people who followed the case and wanted to help. We support other victims of financial fraud, help them navigate the legal system, connect them with resources, remind them they're not alone. Grace is on the board. So is my grandmother, who at 79 shows no signs of slowing down. We meet once a month in my new apartment, smaller than the house I shared with Ryan, but mine. All mine. Megan sent me a letter last month. 7 pages handwritten, full of apologies and explanations and pleas for forgiveness. I read it once, then filed it away. Maybe someday I'll read it again, maybe not. Ryan hasn't contacted me since that phone call before the trial. I hear things through the grapevine. He's adjusting to prison life, keeping his head down, trying to make the best of it. Good luck to him. I genuinely hope he finds some kind of peace, not because he deserves it, but because carrying hate is too heavy. The burner phone is in a drawer somewhere. I keep it as a reminder, not of the pain, but of the mystery. I still don't know who sent that first message. Don't know who was watching, who decided I needed to see the truth. Maybe it was Diana, the pie my mother hired. Maybe it was someone else entirely. Maybe it was my mother. I like that thought. I let myself believe it sometimes, on days when I need to feel her close. That she found a way, from wherever she is, to reach across the impossible distance and save me one last time. The swing creaks gently beneath me. A bird sings somewhere in the garden. Life going on the way it always does. My phone buzzes, not the burner, my real phone, the one with contacts and calendars and a future I'm actually building. A text from Grace, board meeting tomorrow, don't be late. I smile and type back, wouldn't dream of it. Another buzz, this one from an unknown number. I hesitate for just a moment, then open it. You did good, Alina, she'd be proud. I stare at the words for a long moment. Then I type back, thank you, whoever you are. The response comes almost instantly. Someone who's been where you are. Keep going, you're not done yet, I laugh out loud. The sound surprises me. It's genuine, warm, nothing like the sharp broken glass laugh from that first night. No, I'm not done yet. But for the first time in a long time, that feels like a promise instead of a threat. The sun dips below the horizon. The sky darkens. Stars begin to appear, one by one, scattered across the vastness like possibilities. I sit on the porch swing and watch them appear. And I think about tomorrow. About the foundation meeting. About the people I'll help, the lives I'll touch, the difference I'll make. About the woman I'm becoming. Not the woman Ryan tried to destroy, not the woman Megan betrayed, but someone new. Someone forged in fire and truth and the stubborn determination to keep going. Someone my mother would be proud of. The swing creaks gently in the dark. I'm not done yet. We all have moments that break us. But breaking isn't the same as being broken. Alina's story didn't end with betrayal, it began with it. And now she's building something new, something real, something that matters. What will you build from whatever's broken in your life? The materials are the same: truth, courage, and the stubborn refusal to give up. Keep going, you're not done yet either.